French President Emmanuel Macron spoke with his Algerian counterpart on Monday. The discussion, which has been described by Paris as long, frank and friendly, comes as relations between the two sides sink to new lows. Last week, a Franco-Algerian writer in his mid-70s who's battling cancer was sentenced to 5 years behind bars for undermining Algeria's territorial integrity. Ties have also been fraying over Algiers' refusal to take back migrants expelled from France. We can now bring in France 24's international affairs editor, Philip Turle, to talk more about this. Philip, what exactly did these two leaders talk about here?
Well, things really couldn't have got any worse between France and Algeria over the past few months. And there have been some pretty violent jibes on the part of certain French ministers, and the fact that Algeria has refused to really hold any discussions with France at all over the past few months. Something had to break, and this phone call, I think, was a way of that happening. And even the Algerian President Boualem Tebboune has said that Emmanuel Macron is the only point of reference for mending French-Algerian ties. So this is a necessary phone call. And I think that one can say now that I think both leaders are trying their hardest to make ends meet, to turn their backs on the quarrels that have been rife over the past few months, and looking forward to building a new relationship. It was called a long, frank and friendly phone call between the two men. A new, ambitious bilateral partnership will be created as a result of all of that. It's all positive vibes coming out from both capitals. But the bottom line is Algeria and France don't see eye to eye on many things, and it all blew up this time round over France's recognition of Moroccan supremacy over the Western Sahara, much to the anger of Algeria, which backs the Polisario Front. And that is where this current standoff started. And then it blew up because France was blaming Algeria for not taking back some of its nationals who have been served deportation orders, even put in planes and flown back to Algiers. The Algerian authorities refusing to take them, and then they were flown back to France again. And one of them was a terrorist responsible for an attack in Mulhouse on the 22nd of February when one person was killed. He was sent back. Algeria refused to take him in, and now he was sent back to France. So all of these episodes summed up a very complicated relationship between the two countries, which has a lot of its roots in bitterness in Algeria over the colonial rule of France, which ended in 1962. And the French think that the Algerians, in many cases, are still blaming France for their woes today, even though the leaders weren't alive during the colonial period.
But so can things be mended, you think, after this phone call?
It's difficult to say. When you look at the last three standoffs that have happened between France and Algeria, there was one in 2021, another one in 2022, one in 2023. The relationship between the two presidents wasn't enough to lead to another standoff. We've had very bitter remarks from the French Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau, who was accusing Algeria of wanting to humiliate France. Well, I think that there is certainly a feeling by both sides that this can't go on, and there's going to have to be some leeway somewhere to get this relationship back on the road as best it possibly can. But I think we're still quite a long way from a smooth and harmonious relationship between France and Algeria.
We'll see how things pan out between the two sides. Thank you very much for that, Philip Turle there.